It's like Gita, right? It's like Gita. You got
Yes.
to focus on your karma, right? The fruit
Yes.
will manifest, and then once fruit manifest, it's the sum total of the karma till that point, and you got to do the karma for the next point, right? So, what's happening today is already happened, right? And now you got to invent the future. So it's very actually. We're both Indian, so we can talk, but it's very spiritual, right? Is the present is the sum total of all your actions in the past, and the future is the sum total of all your actions you're about to take.
I mean, absolutely. Although we're all still I'm still trying to control my future, seeing if I can edit my karma in some way. My mom, I remember growing up, we went to India and I forgot where, but like you would literally crawl under the cow and somehow it would take away your karma. And I remember telling my mom, because I think I was a junior and I was waiting for college acceptances. So I remember telling the guy in India, "Can I go under the cow like 100 times?" Like
Alexandra, you are doing amazing. And then have like, oh my God, what are you talking about?
so yeah, actually that brings up a good point. Maybe I need to find a cow. But you touched on something that I think is what I think we could have predicted, but is so amazing is how many women you have empowered. Yes, it's not, I'm not talking about the shopping side people, which I'm like constantly looking for things and window shopping on Poshmark, but the women's lives that you have changed. We talk so much on the show about if you want to start a business, and as you just laid out, you have to figure out the market, you have to get funding. But a lot of people need quote unquote entrepreneurship out of a box. They need community. They need something that is near and dear to their heart. So share some of the stories of the lives that have been changed by these sellers because I love those stories.
No, they're so powerful and they are so inspiring, and they inspire us to keep coming back and doing what we are doing. I'll tell you a couple of stories. So I remember we were at Posh Fest, which is our annual conference in Los Angeles. Me and my chief operating officer, John, we were just chatting. And this woman who was at the show came up to us and it was Mr. Chandra. And typically when somebody's saying that, they're about to give me some good feedback on the product. I was open. I was vulnerable. That's what the point of the
Why,
conference.
if they say your first name, they're going to give you bad feedback? Is that what
They-
happened?
they- no, no. I just, formally they're like trying to give me something. It's the daytime, so she's there, and I'm like, John, let's hear out because you're constantly sort of getting feedback, and you're taking this. The
Yep.
whole point of the conference is obviously to share knowledge, but get a lot of feedback. So we're there, and she goes, I just want to tell you something, and I said, sure, no, please, we're open. And she goes, well, I have to tell you about my daughter, and she actually just recently escaped an abusive boyfriend by using Poshmark. So apparently, this woman is from Alaska. She had brought 3 or 4 women with her to learn about Poshmark so they could guide other women because she runs an abusive women shelter and abused women shelter. And then her daughter had um, gone with boyfriend and had a baby, and they were in Oklahoma, and he was very controlling. And so he controlled everything, took away everything from her, but didn't take her phone. And because she was only shipping packages out, there was nothing coming in. It just kept going. And then she was able to save her money through the power of the amazing Poshmark community, develop the self confidence to, with the money and with that power, get out of that relationship and escape that situation. I mean, that is to me one of the craziest things. You second order, third order things that you do, which are really you don't. This was
We'll talk
definitely
about good karma,
good
Manish.
karma. Totally, totally, totally. And then another one is our community is so amazing in supporting other members of the community. So I remember this one woman was going through separation, everything else, and didn't have any money to even get inventory to sell, and she had to leave everything behind, with her former, I forget was husband, whatever it was, and she had a kid, and so the community rallied behind her, and several of them packed up boxes of stuff and inventory to have her to sell, and she literally got,
Wow.
I think, $5 or $10,000 worth of inventory shipped from different households across the country to sell it. And then most recently, we had a woman who's part of our community who was in a terrible, terrible accident, and she's still recovering. And the community again rallied to do sort of fundraising. And these are people, some have met with each other over the years, some have never met with each other, but the level of connectivity and support that happens is just amazing to see. And I think to me, if you think about the power of community, pays back into the society, into the platform in unexpected ways once you foster it.
Yeah. I mean, that just touches me. And over the years, I've been following some of the stories of some of these women, and it just like brings tears to my eyes because, females being financially empowered is just a game changer. And I think that's why I advocate so much to see more females in rooms that they still aren't at the highest levels. But, what you're doing is a space where females are dominating. Am I right with that in terms of numbers? Are most of your sellers females?
We have a very, very strong women's community. We
Yeah.
started primarily focused on women's fashion and then
So
launched men in
inspiring.
2016. So we've been on that journey for a long time. And, I completely agree with you that there is both the economic empowerment, but I think there's also mutual and social empowerment. And I think
Mhm.
that is also very powerful because the way we built the platform is really, we're probably one of the very unique marketplaces where each seller intentionally has to support the next seller in order to win. And so, for example, we have this thing called curation and sharing. So you have to curate each other's items for both gaining your own following, but also getting exposure to your items. So it's an engine where people are spending time curating each other's systems and promoting each other. And that is something that is built as at the platform level. Similarly, when people are engaging on the platform, they are really helping each other. For example, we have a welcome program where people are really invited to welcome other Poshers. It's called the Namaste program internally. And a lot of times when you join Poshmark, you will have some other Poshers in a very authentic way saying, "Hey, welcome, Alexander. Welcome to Poshmark. And here's sort of some of the tips, and I can always help you." So that whole spirit, which is both great for the person who's giving that welcome and the person who receives it, is how I think about life, which is win, win, and win. Everyone needs to win together.